And we're live.
Intent to Injure, welcome back.
We're all alive.
Yeah. We had a little hiatus. A lot of people out there concerned with our whereabouts. But the look of Revito's hair, we're not doing so well. I mean, that's not good. Not that mine's much better. We are getting ready to go get our haircuts here shortly, but wanted to fire up a little podcast. It has been a while.
This is really bad.
First off, we meant to do one actually the week of Christmas. We were going to do one on Christmas Eve. We had good intentions, but couldn't make that work.
Which one was that when we? Yeah. Oh, they were going to lift, and then everything got screwed up. Yeah.
Family obligations, all that good stuff.
Churchy boo.
So we didn't get that one that week, and then the following week I was in Florida, so we weren't able to connect.
I was like Googling about how Barstool does their thing where they like can get people in.
Oh.
I thought it's like a simulcast. It's actually there's a website you can do, and it takes like a Skype, my Skype and your Skype, and it puts us like it would split screen us.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, you have to record it from an outside source. Like you can't like record.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like I'd have to like hold my phone, or like a video camera. So it would have looked kind of weird, but I'm glad we're back. We're alive. We're back. I think we've been receiving text messages.
Yeah, that's what I said
about where we are.
Yeah.
We're alive. We're doing well.
Yeah. And we're going to try to keep up with these weekly the best we can. I mean, it's obviously a long season. We were doing well up until Christmas.
Well, and then I think it helped because we got in like a good routine of like, okay, football podcast after the Monday lift with the Monday night preview, and then we would do like the hockey podcast on Tuesday, and then everything kind of played out.
Right.
You had Thursday night football, so we were always around like watching things, and now it's kind of like you're watching rigged Pens games on Wednesday rivalry night.
Right, yeah.
You were salty about it. I was celebrating Rubio's birthday at Rod's house last night with some of the people in this league, and we were a little intoxicated, so we weren't as sharp, as observant as you were as a viewer at the game in person.
Yeah,
you were
and
pissed.
a lot of people probably wondering why my voice sounds the way it does. I'm not sick. I'm actually, as you mentioned, I was at the game last night, and I was actually booing the refs a good bit. And as I said earlier, my voice is not in playoff mode, so I lose my voice very easily. So it is struggling today. And for that cause, for those who watch the game out there, we always talk about how games are influenced by their respective leagues, by Vegas, and that was the case last night. Pens Bruins on NBC Sports, no surprise, as everybody kind of got ready for the game last night. Even Marissa, my girlfriend who was at the game, she kind of knew going in that she kept saying this game's going to be rigged. Now she'll say that.
Now, what would you say? Now we'll get to we'll do the fantasy portion of this podcast. Will just like you said, be the standings more or less.
So
we're not going to do too much in terms of like reading off people's matchups. If you want to look at that stuff while you're taking a shit or something on the toilet. But I think it's like better. We need to kind of recap what's happened here in the hockey world. It's been a couple of weeks.
That's what we're going to do. So we will go over the standings, but let's start off. I mean, I do want to talk a little bit about the game last night.
Right.
So games on NBC Sports. Those games are the ones that are getting the most action in Vegas because everybody's able to watch them. So people want to bet on games that they want to watch.
Exactly.
This was a classic example of the league needing Boston to win. Everybody's on the home favorite, the Pens.
Was that? I actually didn't look. Were the numbers? The Pens were definitely the team that was being.
Well, everybody was
on?
taking Boston plus 1.5 goals. So when it went to overtime.
That
was one. So if the Penguins would have won in overtime, that would have been the worst case scenario for Vegas. So to fill you guys in, if you didn't see the game, Pens actually get a goal disallowed in the second period on a pretty soft goaltender interference call. Zach Sill cross-checked into the goalie. He did his best to avoid him. I thought he made very minimal contact. Craig Adams puts the puck in the net. They say no goal. That was fix number one. And then, of course, fix number two comes in overtime where Bergeron has a goal, or a alleged goal, but...
You're still not happy about this.
No. His stick is up around Dupre's head.
I feel like I have to just look this goal up.
Go ahead and look
because,
it up.
and we were just at the gym, if you couldn't tell by how, we're a little amped up. New pre-workout. It's great. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to let Eric plug this new place we went to yesterday that some of you may enjoy.
Well, first let me finish explaining the goal.
Yeah, sorry.
For those who didn't see it.
I have that.
So Bergeron's stick is up by Dupre's head. He makes clear contact with the puck, and it goes by Fleury. The refs on the ice call it a goal, and then they do what was about a 5-minute review.
So it was a long review.
So everybody is half the people are kind of standing in the aisle waiting to leave. It was kind of a weird situation at Consol Energy Center. And they kept showing the replay, and I kept saying 100% that's not a goal. That's clearly a high stick, because the rule is the stick has to be below the crossbar, and there's no way Dupre's head is below the crossbar.
He's a horse. A tall horse, but a horse. Here we go. Oh, there we go. All right, I'm going to watch it now. I don't want to skip that.
And so, but sure enough,
let me watch this.
On NBC Sports,
I already have an account.
They don't call that a high stick, and it's a goal and the Bruins win. So that's kind of the way that things go. So as you continue to look this up, I'm going to go over the standings. So let's update everybody.
No wasted time today.
On what's going on here. So the number 1 overall seed, Talkins Book Service at 10-3, and at number 2, Giordano Hart 2015 at 10-3.
I'm watching.
As we watch the replay here of the overtime goal from last night, we'll get Giordano Hart 2015's thoughts on this wherever it goes.
Jesus! Okay. Look where it froze.
You can.
I always try this and you always freak out, but that's actually not bad. All right, here comes the replay. This is weirdly like a decent. Sorry for my large nose. Don't focus on that. So they run me through what was going on in real time here. So they instantly went and they all gathered around. Okay.
Yeah, so they went and reviewed it for 5 minutes. So they're going to probably show a replay here.
So, I feel like the coaches at this point had to be freaking out. Like, there's no way. Like,
everybody wanted to see a replay. It took them a while in the building to show one.
Oh, darn it. We're not going to get a good color here. I mean, yeah, it was hard to see, but...
Watch this.
Jesus Christ!
It sticks above the Dupre.
Yeah, and... So the what's it called? The devil's advocate will say Dupre was like bent over. He's still 6'4".
Yeah.
I'm
not sure how tall.
The net is 4 feet high by 6 feet, 4 by 6. So I'm taller than the net.
So Dupre could be on his knees.
Right. Basically. Like I'm taller than a hockey net by a good. I'm 5'10", a good almost 2 feet. Yeah. So I mean, in Dupre, yeah, okay. Anyway, so that's they're happy rig day.
Yeah, so that's the kind of nonsense that happens on NBC Sports. So it is what it is.
Hey, we've all unfortunately been on the wrong end of that, and yeah, the nice thing is you hope it doesn't happen in the playoffs.
Yeah, you certainly hope not.
But who knows? Fixed for Marty last year.
That's neither here nor there. So going back to the standings here, you and I respectively 1 and 2 in the league. I've said this before. It feels good. At least it feels a little bit satisfying to be here critiquing the fantasy league and actually be sitting at the top of the standings. Whereas in football, we were both at the bottom, telling people who to start and sit.
It was hard to get not amped up. It was hard to get amped up to even talk in the hot fantasy football one, because by week 7, you and I were just looking at each other like, I don't know, do you want to make a trade? Because I don't really give a shit anymore. It's like, look, Colin's team's really good, and your cousin's team is really good, and Ben doesn't really care. Like literally, there were no talking points for us. It was kind of boring. But now it's like nice. We just dropped off, and we just dropped off the 3rd place.
Yes, we did.
Just dropped
and
off.
That is Blake
Wheelhurt.
My opponent this week. So he is sitting at 8-5. Also at an 8-5 record is Madonna Autogoal 95. Johnny Zaleski. He sets his lineup. I saw a couple people doing this. They don't set their lineup in advance. They just try to get to it daily, and if they forget, then they're kind of shorthanded. I don't know why people just don't sit down and set it for the whole month. It takes 5 minutes.
See, I do it daily, but I remember to do it daily.
Well, mine's set for the month, but I'll still look at it daily.
In case you one day forget, it's like, oh shit. I hope I started, whoever, and then it's like, okay, good. At least I know my players were in the starting lineup. But,
so in 5th place, and another guy we just dropped off, the Jonathan Quickies at 7-6. Sam Mendelson.
Did we skip 4th place?
No, I said Madonna Autogoal already.
You did.
At 6 overall, we're a joke. This team sucks. Brent Mansfield at 6-7. He's been coming on.
Yeah, this is crazy. So Brent Brent, I mean, in the hockey locker room, I'd say about a month and a half ago, Brent more or less looked at us and said, like, he started auctioning off players.
Yeah.
I think for like $1.50, he was saying, and then now, and his team, and now he's up 23 points again this week. I think he's won like 6 straight.
No, he's won 6 straight. I think he's won 4 straight games. I think he was a 2-7. But 4 straight, and he's looking to win his 5th.
A 5th.
That's very impressive for Brent. Nice to see his team coming on strong, and they are absolutely in the hunt. The odd man out in 7th place at 5-8. Newly named Tarasenko's Horsecock is at 4-9. In 9th place,
it's a little bit of an excessive name there. I think we could do without the Horsecock.
Yeah.
Do we even have evidence that that there is a horse?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did the horse come? That's all we have. Yeah. That's the only question.
Did he
come?
Shaw Panthers are 4-9. They're coming off a loss last week. I wonder if there's going to be yet another name change there that he just hasn't gotten to yet. Colin Fawcett.
Is there anything lower than the South Hills Amateur Hockey Association?
I'm sure you could find something lower.
What is that team Brody played on? Penn Enforcers. Didn't they suck?
Yeah,
they fold. Didn't they fold?
That was a higher level of hockey, but in the grand scheme of things, like the Shaw Panthers probably could have competed with them, despite being like 8 years younger. That's probably the most insulting team you can think of. The Forces. That was a great run. And then in last place, Goodnight Jim Kite 3-10. That's frustrating to see. I was with my brother in Florida, and he sits there and he stares at his other team in his other league and is setting his lineup and everything. And then in this league, he doesn't do anything. He doesn't touch it. I don't know what his problem is. Did this in football, was a non-factor in my league. He's in another one of my leagues, non-factor, but he's in this league with his Cal buddies, and he's all into it, picking up players. It's just why don't you replicate that type of? I don't know what. Mm-hmm. I think maybe sharing a team, he just puts the onus on
the other person.
Like he did that in football with my cousin. He's doing it now with Talon, and I'm not sure how much Talon is. I haven't been checking to see if they've had a lineup, with all their guys in it every game.
No, I played them last week. They did not.
My guess is probably not.
No. Well, see, the thing is we don't mind having a taco team of the league reference there, but at the same time, it's I don't know. I don't know if Colin's setting a lineup every week because his team's pretty shitty. But, just set it on Sunday night. It's not that hard. I'm not asking you to go out and, find, sleepers and shit. But
yeah, which, by the way, I've been pulling a U and using all 7 matchup acquisitions.
There's no reason not to if you don't have... Yeah. If you have droppable players on your team, there's no reason that
there's
you should...
2 or 3 guys I just rotate through into
exactly, and then they're wavered for a day, and I see them all the time when you drop them. But it's I don't. There's some people you may want to pick up, and then there's others where it's it may not be worth my pick. Actually, the last couple of weeks I haven't been using any, and everyone was fucking on me for not having a goalie, and now I have 3 starters. That's all it took.
Yeah, a couple guys with shutouts.
Bobrovsky, Varlamov, and Elliott, and I hope Brodeur gets really old really quick.
You snuck Elliott back in there.
Well, see,
I didn't know.
It was waiting for him. I picked him up while he was still in the IR, but that and then. So, look at those players, everybody. Look at people who are on the IR. What ex-Pirates infielder Gabby Sanchez joins. Oh, moved to Japan. Sorry, that's scrolling on my phone. But you look at the IR, pick those people up. I picked up Jordan Stahl. I now have a first-line center on my bench. He's, getting his way back into the games. And I like Jordan Stahl. I wish we would have kept him.
Yeah, I actually looked into picking him
This
up.
fucking number has called me 4 days in a row, and I'm not answering. Full decline. Okay. 703. Don't even know where that area code is.
But I did want to smoothly transition matchup acquisitions into the Penguins' new acquisition. Obviously, as everybody probably knows, Penguins made a trade last week to acquire David Perron from Edmonton. And as soon as that happened, I went on to pick up Perron. I saw he was on waivers. And literally that morning had just used my 7th matchup acquisition of the week.
Someone picked him up.
Yeah,
who did?
Robbie Wright did.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say.
He actually tweeted about Perron, and I had tweeted that I literally went to pick. I tweeted I went to pick him up. I used him on matchup acquisitions, and he then took that. He took the bait, picked up Perron. which, I mean, I was really frustrated about because I forget who I picked up for that day, but he was like a meaningless player. Here you can get a guy that's likely going to be playing with Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin for the long run. We see him on the Pens power play now. I mean, that's going to be a guy that's going to just produce, by
droves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true.
Just by association, basically.
That's true. I mean, literally, like the fact that I rostered Nick Spaulding for a couple of weeks when he was playing with Crosby is asinine, but at the same time, I'm not looking for like fantasy is all about trying to find a little bit of an advantage somewhere, and it's usually an advantage playing with the best player in the world, inarguably. Although, yeah, so
it's been arguable.
I wanted to compliment you on how nice that segue was. That was like daytime radio talk, acquisition.
That was really something that I did want to bring up here because one. We do want to talk about the recent hockey news going on, and that was pretty big news last week. I thought the Penguins definitely needed another winger there, so it was nice to acquire him. And a lot of people speak very highly of him. His numbers aren't necessarily there, but they're not going to be playing for Edmonton.
No, they're never going to be there. And see, now the thing I'd like to see is how well he meshes with the team, how well he. I mean, it's going to take a while. I mean, the guy played in his first game without even practicing with our power play, so. No. I mean, I was complaining a little bit last night that he was on the wrong half wall, but that was a rotational issue. And if the more time he spends with it, the bottom line is the Penguins just get healthy. If they just get healthy, everyone can stop complaining. We can keep Paul Martin. Everything will be great. Right. Penguins just get healthy.
That's kind of the big question.
I'm almost at the point now where we do and I don't like NBA basketball, and I don't watch NBA basketball, but unfortunately every once in a while ESPN's on in my house, so I have to hear about NBA basketball. We should start doing the Greg Popovich thing with the Spurs.
Sure, Western players.
And just sit people. Who the fuck cares if we have 100 points? Who gives a shit? If you told me we could finish in 5th place and not even have home ice advantage, and you said you could have every single person healthy going into the playoffs, I would take that over somebody with the foot bruise as the number 1 seed. And don't try to give me the bullshit on home ice advantage, because we've seen home ice advantage in Consol is about as advantageous as, I don't know, herpes. Well, it's really bad.
The Penguins' history in the playoffs and home ice is not good. I know the year that they won the Cup, they clinched every game on the road in 2009.
Yeah. And in the season before that, they clinched every series on the road as well.
Outside of the Rangers.
That came back home?
That came home. They won in overtime. I was there in 2008, yes.
But every other one I'm thinking in my head was on the road.
Yes, so that's just...
And I don't think that has nothing to do with anything, I don't think. I mean, you're grasping at straws trying to compare the 2009 season to 2015. Right. But at the same time... my point is I'd just rather be healthy. Right. I'd rather have our 6th defenseman healthy. I don't care who the 6th defenseman is. That last defenseman, it can be Bortuzzo. It can be Pouliot at the end of the year if you want it to be. I'd rather really it not be. Whatever. Give me my top 3 lines healthy. That 4th line can be as hodgepodgey as they want it to be. I don't really care. We don't need another winger now. If everyone comes back, if Bennett could... I think you play Bennett once a week. Last night it was a running joke at the house. It's Bennett scored, maybe for the first time.
How about he in his last 8 games has 2 goals and 5 assists? So he's starting to contribute offensively. It's about time.
It is,
and it's about time we strung 8 games together.
That's the more amazing.
So yeah,
stat.
I mean, if he can stay healthy, the Penguins are set at wing, and of course it's unfortunate that Dupuis done for the year because that just
hurts.
It's a big loss, but
it hurts more than I think any of us will realize for a couple of years, because it was that first line, was that 2 years ago when that first line was literally arguably a guy an undrafted player out of Ferris State who would probably be a career 3rd liner in Anaheim. Yeah. And where'd Dupuis come from? I know he played for Anaheim, but I don't remember where he came from.
He didn't play for Anaheim. He was playing for the Atlanta Thrashers when we traded for him.
And who did we trade for him? Do you remember? Colby Armstrong?
Yeah. It was a Hossa deal.
He came with Hossa. Let's be honest, we couldn't keep Hossa. We probably actually kept the more important part in that first line. That first line was so goddamn good. It was...
You almost took it for granted at the time.
Yeah, because it was always they were impervious to anything. There was no injuries. There was no. There were injuries, but
Crosby was the one that was always injured.
I'm talking about that year that he just went on the tear.
Yeah,
and which was That was That was they were on the tear on the lockout season. The season of the lockout was when they went nuts, and then Crosby got hit in the jaw.
That's what I mean.
And
it was always Sid.
It was always Orpek.
But before we sign off here, I don't know. Do you want to did you want to do a part 2? I did want to just talk about one more thing with the Pens. I didn't know if
yeah, we could do a part 2. Represent this guy. Yeah, I want to talk about this guy for Vezina.
Okay. Well,
so we'll do it.
Well, real quickly, I just wanted to. We were talking about the Pens lines. I mentioned this to you earlier. I don't understand what Johnston's doing. I don't know why. So the first line is Crosby, Downey, Perron. I'm kind of feeling different about that. If that's what they want to do, and that's something that's going to work, fine. My problem comes in the second and third line. So last night it was Malkin and Bennett, which I actually like. And then they had Spalling as the other wing there, which I did not get. And they have Kunitz back in the third line with Sutter, and last night it was Rust. But I think you move Kunitz up to the second line and Spalling to the third. Spalling clearly doesn't fit in as a top 6 forward. And Kunitz is, he made the Canadian Olympic team last year playing with top
solely based on the fact that literally Babcock said you're coming on the team to play on a line with Crosby.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Crosby, you would not have made the Olympic team. Like that was very heir apparent.
So, here you have a winger that can clearly play with top talent, and we saw that he could do that with Malkin as well.
The year when Crosby went out, and they were a
so
beast.
Kunitz has to be one of the top 2 lines. I don't know what Johnson's trying to do. I don't know if he's trying to strengthen the third line, like keeping Sutter and Kunitz together. But
you wonder if he's just
doesn't really
spitballing here. Almost.
I have no problem with mixing and matching things to see what works this time of year.
Maybe what,
but that's not the answer. Spalling as a top 6 forward is never the answer.
At this point, okay, you've had your experimental, time with it. Be done with it. Yeah. I understand trying things out, couple games, give it a week, give it a road trip, give it whatever, a homestand. But after a while, it's hard to watch. My ideal, I would put Kunitz. See, and I'm not against having. I feel like if Kunitz wants to be, he can play as a grinder. I also feel like Kunitz can also play as a scorer.
Right.
So I think that first line, even if you wanted to drop, so your second line would be that kitschy Russian, Swedish, handsy playmaker line. If you put Perron, Malkin, and Bennett. And then if that first line was Crosby, Downey, and Kunitz, imagine the space Crosby would have to play.
Well, let me say this. I think the top 4 wingers, when healthy, have to be Kunitz, Hornquist, Bennett, and Perron. Okay? So you have those 4, and those 4 got to be with Malkin and Crosby in some way, shape, or form. We've seen the Crosby and Bennett doesn't really work, so I'm fine with splitting those 2 up. But do you do Crosby, Kunitz, Perron, Malkin, Hornquist, Bennett, or something like that?
Yeah, and then your third line of Sutter, Spalling, and Downey is a third line.
Perfect. That's a perfect line. So I
wouldn't want to play against that line in the playoffs. That's a line that's coming out and Downey's eyes are fucking crazed.
And then fourth line you've Gotch, Adams, Sill,
do whatever the hell Rust or whatever.
Yeah, you got plenty of guys.
I care.
Plenty of guys to choose from.
That line will have 6 minutes in the playoffs. But at this, I completely agree.
So
if you can have Kunitz, Crosby, Perron, Hornquist, Malkin, Bennett, Sutter, Downey, Spalling,
right,
that team can win a cup.
Yeah,
with with Mata or with Letang, Martin, Mata, whoever, Mata, Ehrhoff, I guess, and Scuderi, Bortuzzo / Dupre. That team can win. The way Fleury's playing, you can win a cup.
Right, and that's. Really, what it all comes back to is just staying healthy for them. So if they can, they're going to be right in the thick of things come May and June.
And they should be. So that's where we want to be. So we're running to haircuts now because we're going to be late. Shocker.
So we're gonna conclude part 1, and we're gonna pick up part 2 in the car on the way over to the haircuts. We'll catch you then.
Bye.